Alright, here it is. You guys asked for it. So we're going to do a review of the Sparrows Dark Shift. Here it is, the case. You can see that it's nylon, Cordura, or whatever. It's real nice. Got a real satisfying click, and this is everything that you get in it. We'll go over that stuff in a minute. Get your tension wrenches and your picks on the top here. Got my picks over there on the right. Little rakes on the left.
If you're like me, you're going to forget to click the like button. Go ahead and do that now, before you finish watching this video.
It's a nice Cordura pouch. They say that it is a stone gray. I thought this was called foliage gray, but whatever have you. I think Magpul will call that foliage gray. It's almost a silver grayish kind of color. A gray-green. Here we have a lockpick, and this is indicative of what you're gonna get in the set. This is one pick. I call it the ET pick. It's got like a little ET finger on it, and then here this one has a little bit bigger of an ET finger on it, a little bit less precise, but a little bit easier to hit tumblers with. And here we have a fine pick. There's no little lump on it, no ET finger on it, just a little hook. Okay, here we have the city rake. It's good for rocking the locks. Works pretty well. Before I broke my last one, I would have said that it was becoming my favorite, and then I broke my last one. This is a Bogota or a triple peak rake. Here we have my favorite rake. It's called the Worm by Sparrows. It's like a Bogota triple peak, except it's a lot less pointy. And then this is a double peak, which is like your Bogota, except it only has 2 points on it. And then this is what Sparrows calls the Sandman. It's kind of a rake. You can kind of rock with it. You can use this for some kind of imprecise single pin picking. This little notch that I'm pointing to, I think that it's a depth meter. On my 6-pin lock, I noticed that if I stick it all the way into that point, it tells me I'm on the 6th pin. It could also be used as a kind of a gauge to tell you in low light that you're on the other side of the pick. Here you have it. These are the picks that come with the set. Here we have a pick in detail. This is the Worm. I told you that it was my favorite. The lighting's not very good here. This was largely an experiment, but you know, we'll deal with it. As you can see by my thumbnail there, you got some jimping on the top of it. And Sparrow's defense, this kit is supposed to be for gloved hands. It is nice, it looks cool, but if you're going to be using these bare hands, I would say possibly find some different picks. Possibly ones by Sparrows. You know, you can hold them like this. Don't really recommend it, because those little edges dig into you. This little thing right here, that's a monster, and this will poke right into the back of your hand if you try raking with it like that. Not a big fan, but it does provide some good positive traction with the jimping right there, and you can get some good raking action in there. Personally, I would round down that little point in the back. It doesn't do anything for me, and granted, they do say this is for gloved hands, so perhaps it's meant to, with gloved hands, give you a little bit more tactile feel and let you know that you've got a solid grip on your pick. I don't necessarily buy it. I like this set because it's flat. You can see there that I'm flexing the pick. That works pretty good. I like to flex the pick, to hold on to it like that, and kind of get a different angle to work my lock. Though they're flexible, you can tell they're strong. They have a good amount of rigidity and flexibility to them. A good balance of that, I would say. You can hold them like this, but there's a little dimple on the inside edge. It kind of pokes at your finger a little bit. There's that dimple I'm trying to point at. I don't know. I don't like that so much. The edges are a little bit sharp. They'll kind of cut into your fingers a little bit. They're not too bad, but after getting this set, I feel like I would much rather have some lockpicks that are gonna be easier to practice with long term. If I sit down and start messing around with some locks, in 30 or 40 minutes, just messing around, my fingers go to sleep. Just having those edges push on my, blood vessels and my thumbs and fingers.
Alright, let's go ahead and take a look here at our tension wrenches. You can see that you have a straight angled one, and then 3 dog-eared tension wrenches, and then here is a tension wrench that doesn't have the dog ears on it. Flip that one around. Alright, let's take a close look at these 3 guys here, because these are more or less why I bought the set. Now I will say that I thought I was going to like these more than I actually do. You can see that 2 of these are the same thickness, and the one on the furthest right there is just a little bit thicker. I don't have the exact specs on them, but that's the one I tend to like to use, is the thicker one there. And once again, the 2 on the left are about the same size, if not they are the exact same. You can see that you've got a long side and a short side. Now I feel like this dimension here is a little bit too long. I would shave this edge off. I feel like if you take about 1 millimeter off, it would be less likely to fall out of the lock. I feel like just doing a little bit of sandpaper and grinding that edge down about 1 millimeter will help that out quite a bit. And then they're also a little bit too tall in that direction, in this direction here. So shaving about 1 millimeter off the top, I feel like will also help it to kind of stay in the top of the keyway when I try and pick from the top of the keyway. Now these do have some serrations that are supposed to kind of help lock this into the keyway when you're using that dog ear, but in my experience, I haven't really experienced that preventing it from popping out. It seems like just having it close to the width of your keyway will be more helpful than actually having those serrations there. And here's just the straight one. Nothing fancy about this. It works. It's a good rigid piece, but nothing fancy there. And then we have this one, and it's got a dog ear on this side. You can see that little cutout. That's what we're calling the dog ear. And it's got the serrations there, of course. And then this is, if you're going to pick from the bottom of the keyway. So let's take a look at how picking with this thing works. So here I have that thickest dog-eared one. And I've got my worm rake. Oh, just lost my tension wrench there. All right, let's put it back in. All right, we'll use the short side. Put it at the top of the keyway. And certainly those serrations will keep this from falling up. All right, try it again. Oh, got the wrong side, I think. Let's go ahead and use that short side. Kind of work with not have that leverage work against us. Use the short side here, and start with my light tension. Get my worm rake out. Orient it correctly. Start raking, and making sure not to hang my rake up on the front of that. Oh, look, popped it out just a little bit, so we'll push it back in just to make sure we don't lose it again. Oh, and then there I go again. All right, flip it around to the short side. And start with my light tension. Rake, 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 rake. Get my scrubbing action down on the pins. And make sure not to upset that up and reset it here. Scrub, scrub, scrub. And I tend to go from light tension in the beginning to heavier tension. And just straighten that pick out again. We're going to get some more vigorous scrubbing in. Try not to lose the pick one more time. And push that back in. And reset my lock. I'm using the other side of the worm rake here. See if maybe I'm missing some tumbler in there. And we got an open. Excellent. So let's take a look at what that might look like using my own tension wrench. Now this is a custom tension wrench that I built. I built this tension wrench using a windshield wiper blade refill kit, and they've got these little edges on them that when you fold them and break them, you can get this nice little dog ear out of it, and they actually work really well. So you can see, holding up the dog ear compared to the flat tension wrenches in the set, you can see where I feel like if it was just a little bit shorter and not quite as tall, if those dimensions matched up a little bit better, you'd have a better tension wrench. And that's just for the locks that I've been picking here. So I'm going to experiment with modifying the flat bar tension wrenches because I like that they're flat and they fit in the pocket. But my tension wrench kicks out. So let's take a look at how easy it is to pick with my tension wrench. So here we have the same lock, and we have my tension wrench. Notice how this little nub in there fits in the top of the keyway. And just like that, and it just kind of locks in there. And then we orient our rake and we start raking. And notice how many times I drop this tension wrench. And we do a little bit more. Feel the tension, and bingo bango, we got it open. Yeah, so those tension wrenches, while they do look cool, I'm not certain that out of the box they're the best tension wrenches for the money. This one was free with a wiper blade installation at your local auto parts store. You might be able to dig in the trash can and just get some of these out and make your own really nice tension wrenches that work really well and don't fall out, because just that dimension really matches up with the top of the keyway. Now this is a cheapo practice lock that I actually found on the feeder road, or the highway on-ramp for those of you up north. But it also works on quick set locks and a number of other cheap locks that I have. So this is what the full set looks like. In conclusion, I think that they're good looking rakes and picks that come in the set. The tension bars are nice and flat and rigid and strong, and I would modify them a little bit to make them perfect. The picks are very nicely finished. They do a great job, but they have some ergonomic features that I do not care for. That said, this is a great set, and I look forward to trying more stuff out by Sparrows. If you enjoy this video, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I'd like to start a discussion down in the comment section. Thanks for watching my video. This has been another production of Peace, Love, and Guns.